About 4.5 billion years ago, the Earth was a massive sphere of flaming rock getting relentlessly hammered by space debris. But as the planet began cooling, water trapped inside impacts turned to steam, rained down, and flooded the surface to create the first dark oceans. Down at the bottom of those flooded trenches, scalding hydrothermal vents spewed a rich mix of raw chemicals. In that intense heat and pressure, those chemicals began combining in strange ways, sparking the first anomalies of life. Scientists debate exactly where the line between living and non-living lies, but a rock is completely passive. It sits there and slowly erodes. A living organism actively fights against that decay. To wage this war against turning into dust, an organism must pull off specific tasks. It must metabolize food, respond to its environment, and grow and reproduce. When you look closely at these tasks, biology is essentially chemistry in disguise. You and I are built from a continuous series of microscopic chemical reactions, all engineered to solve the ultimate problem of staying alive. The most urgent defense against dying is securing enough fuel to keep your physical machinery running. ATP is the universal biological battery. Energy is stored right here, in the volatile bonds connecting these three phosphate groups. Through cellular respiration, cells break down glucose, snapping off that third phosphate to release energy, then using glucose fuel to reattach it and recharge. Humans have to consume external food to get that glucose, but plants handle this differently. They use specialized organelles called chloroplasts to split water and synthesize their own glucose directly from solar energy. Whether an organism hunts down a meal or sits quietly absorbing sunlight, acquiring and converting energy is the foundational mechanic. Every other survival system relies on having enough power to operate. Generating all that power is useless if the external environment crashes into the cell. Biological enzymes only work under precise conditions, like a specific pH level. If chaos alters the internal chemistry, those enzymes denature and the cell dies. This is the cell membrane, a phospholipid bilayer acting as a gatekeeper. Small molecules like water slip through, while larger particles hit a wall. However, diffusion is a vulnerability. In concentrated saltwater, physical gradients cull internal water outward, rapidly dehydrating the cell to balance concentration. To prevent this, the cell constantly burns energy to pump ions against the gradient and keep conditions stable. This constant active maintenance of the perimeter is homeostasis, keeping the unpredictable outside world from destroying the delicate chemistry inside. With a secure perimeter and a steady power supply, the organism faces another problem. How does the raw cellular machinery know the correct sequence to build the right enzymes, proteins, and membranes? Instructions are locked away deep inside the nucleus as DNA, storing recipes for every biological trait in specific sequences of 4 nitrogenous bases. This diagram shows how those instructions are copied. An enzyme unzips the DNA, and a single strand of messenger RNA links up with complementary bases to copy the code. The RNA then carries that message out of the nucleus to the ribosomes, which read the sequence and assemble amino acids into actual proteins. Over a cell's life cycle, it replicates its blueprint. It copies the DNA and splits into identical cells to grow and repair tissues through mitosis, or it produces specialized cells with half the chromosomes for reproduction through meiosis. Genetics and cell division operate as a biological data transfer. By passing down the exact code needed to build these mechanisms, the hard-won survival instructions outlive the original organism. Copying billions of bases of DNA over and over is an imperfect process. Frequently, a single base is changed, left out, or inserted by accident, creating a mutation in the sequence. A lot of the time, these genetic misfires cause the cell's checkpoints to fail, leading to catastrophic replication errors like cancer. But occasionally, the error alters the resulting protein just enough to produce a new physical trait. If a yellow grasshopper happens to be born with a mutation that turns it green, it suddenly blends in with the grass. Because it's harder to see, it avoids getting eaten, survives longer, and passes that exact green mutation down to its offspring. The grasshopper didn't choose to adapt. Evolution is simply the mathematical compounding result of these random microscopic errors driving natural selection over billions of years. If you let those microscopic chemical mutations compound long enough, they build up from single cells to the most complex integrated survival system on Earth, the human nervous system. When stimulated, ion channels open and charges rapidly swap places. This action potential travels down the axon. At the end, it releases neurotransmitters that float across the physical gap and dock onto the next neuron, triggering another wave. Millions of these electrical impulses and chemical exchanges happen at the exact same strength and speed every time you react to heat, take a deep breath, or solve a math problem. Everything you perceive, think, and feel is the ultimate manifestation of this microscopic chemistry, perfectly adapted over billions of years to do one thing: keep you alive.